All right, hey folks, we are going to continue with artwork tonight for the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document. Give me a second here to check my signal, and I'll go through my intro, and then we're going to start processing some pages. So, give me a hot second here. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. And apparently I am not live yet. Am I live now? No. I've got some sort of weird scheduling thing going on with this. Expected to go live a minute ago, yet it doesn't seem to be. Are we there yet? To be. Are we there yet? To be. All right. Are we there yet? Fantastic. Okay, cool. Good to go. Give me a second here while I check through all my bits. Blip, blip there and blip there. So I'm going to press a bunch of buttons and walk us through the channel here while I stare blankly into oblivion. There we go. Okay, cool. So, hey, my name is Theurgy. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. And we've been focusing attention on this new document that we're creating, Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. It is a 100-some-odd page deep dive into combat and exploration mechanics using 5th edition rules for the new Spelljammer setting that came out in August 2022. New, he says. It was new when I started making the book. At least that's true. But it took a while for us to play test everything, make all the rules, get Adam Hancock on board to help us with editing the thing, and then doing the page layouts. There we go. Good. There you go. Yeah. Document. This is the episode. Where are we at? Episode 331. Best way to help the channel grow is to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We've picked up more subscribers since this morning. God bless you. Thank you. I'm on Twitter. I'm on the TwitterX platform. You can follow me at Phil Kearney if you're interested. But otherwise, the full playlist that we have here is in the description down below. We created this book cover back around episode 15. And right now, we are processing the exploration chapter of this book. It's, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then a page is missing. Let me see. How are we going to get to you? Let's do this, and then let's go into production, and then interior pages, exploration. There we go. Now let's go check in our book here. A couple episodes, I'm waiting for this thing to catch up. I did a zoom, so it's got 100 pages it wants to zoom in on to have less pages sampled per frame. And it's going to take a moment for it to, there we go. Cool. Let's go to the exploration chapter. Bloop. There we go. So this goes from what? Page... Come on, baby cakes. I want baby cakes. Everybody wants baby cakes. Is that going to catch us up? Are we catching up here, buddy? There we go. Page 58. And it goes through to... I don't know why I'm doing that. Page 58. 67. Yeah, okay, cool. So let's go back to the front of the document. Bloop, there we go. So what I'm looking for is inconsistencies and changes in the pages that we've been updating page layouts during and admittedly after we did artwork for it. So there is some course corrections required occasionally. So doing a double check here real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And all that's inside the curve here, so I better... Actually, let's do this. There. That'll help. Keep that clean and curved away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very good. Okay, so that should be fine. And then looking at this is seriously, I'm just spot checking stuff. That's literally what we're doing. Oh God, I have a gap. A gap. We know what to do with gaps. Let's consider our options. Dun, 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 dun. We do have the equipment and ships section that we had created a, the word I'm looking for is spyglass. A spyglass might fit nicely here. So let's go see if we can go fetch Wait, no, it's not on this page. Oh no, it was on this page. There it is. Let's see if we can go fetch this and duplicate that group and import it into exploration for I bet this could work. Let's go ahead and shut that guy down. Equals no. Let's take this and how we want to do this. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it looks like the page shifted a little bit. I'd better pick this up and scooch it over just in case. So what page are we on here? This is page 59. Yeah, that's the funny number. It is a gap, but let's see. It's large enough to warrant yeah. It's a large enough space to be worth contending with. So, what is it, page 59? 59. XO. There you go. File. Export. PDF. Interior pages. Exploration. 59. Options. Current document, no properties. Okay. Publish, single page. Pop. There we go. Backspace. Restore. Remove. File. Open. Done. Interior. Exploration. 59. Click. Click. Select all, copy, paste in place, close. There we go. TXT, save. Illustration. Free transform. Flip horizontal now, baby. Let's see how that works out. Seems kind of nope-ish. So let's adapt or die, shan't we? The great news is that we're running out of things to do. So I was hoping to have this published on Tuesday next week. I'm not confident that we're going to hit that mark, but next week feels really good. Because once we get through the exploration chapter here, the only thing left, I believe, is combat and the Lyzaraxis chapter. We need to update the Warbird art in the combat chapter. Let's go back here real quick and double checks. Yeah. As soon as we finish exploration, we still have combat to process, and we're gonna have to swap out Flitter for Warbird art, and then we still need to drop images into all the Lyzaraxis sections. But that's all kind of built out, so it should work. And then we fuse it all together. So I mean, although I keep guessing when we're going to be done and I keep getting it wrong, we keep moving forward, even though we're guessing the wrong completion date. But we're always moving closer to it. So we're getting there very, 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 very soon. Very soon, very soon, very soon, very soon. They're going to be there very soon. Let's I don't know what purpose you serve. Get out of here. Here, and let's see what we can. Oh, that's gonna work. I like all these little Esper Wisps. They're fun. I don't really know where that term came from, but it seems to be sticking in my heart, so I'm keeping it. No. Yes. Just no. Yes. Okay. No. Why are you so choppy, yo? I've got a fiendish little delay going on here. Might be the computer might be asking for me to shut down startup again. We'll see. There. But yeah, this is coming along really, really nicely. God, this is such a great project. This is probably the best work I've ever done, and I am very, very proud of that. So it's going to be really, it'll be a nice little feather in my cap to have this supplement out there. God willing, it's going to scratch the itch that a lot of people have for like real dynamic 5e combat in space. Like it's exactly built for that. And then all the scaling mechanics just naturally evolved into, exploration and over time travel, and I want to say overland travel, but there's no land that, I mean, unless if you're in orbit, you're overland. But pardon the pun. I just mean large scale movement. Travel between worlds is technically the term I'm looking for. It's I'm happy with the mechanics that we have here. For navigating wild space as well as the astral sea. I like how all the creatures are presented. It's a good piece, and if there's anything that is being picked up as broken, or someone's pointing out something, it's a PDF. So if someone brings a strong case or presents a better way of doing something and shares it, and then I am open to listening to what that is. Like there's controversy about using square grid for large scale movement as opposed to a hex, which is more traditional. But the book is primarily a combat supplement, and all of the combat in 5e is 5 foot squares. So for me to be able to preserve all the action economy and reaction stuff and all the blah blah that goes into 5e combat, I needed to keep that square principle. And so you go from 5-foot squares to 50-foot squares to 500-foot squares to 1 mile square. At what point are you supposed to transition into hexes? I mean, the DMG provides variant rules for using hex instead of squares. It's just, I think, I don't care that if you move at an angle, you can potentially get to a location sooner than you otherwise would have. You can just simply implement the 3.5 that implemented the no, it was 3.0. D&D 3.0 had the when you're moving diagonally, it's the first square is 1 square, the second square is 1.5 squares, and it certainly it's 1.5 and then 5. I think is how it does it. And 1.5 then 5 then 1.5 then 5 then 1.5 then 5. It works okay. Oh, that's what it is. It's 1 square, 2 squares, 1 square, 2 squares, 1 square, 2 squares. But it's still not perfect. But it's better. If you like, they did away with it in later editions because it just didn't matter. And though it can, in certain circumstances, allow you to arrive at one destination sooner than another if you're using your diagonals to the best of your ability. But I will argue that objects move in space, and if you're able to find your way to a destination faster than you otherwise would have, that just means you've got one hell of a pilot that found that was able to find a more efficient route to get you from one location to another. That's very easy. That's a very light narrative, and but the combat is where it's at, and keeping that scaling square is important to make the mechanics work as 5e intends. So God bless you hex folks out there, but I'm not a fan of hex. Like the charm of the old editions before the unifying D20. The unifying D20 was a design masterpiece on Wizards' part, and good job, guys. But the thing about the earlier editions is that they actively cobbled different resolution mechanics together. And everyone probably knows now that like Outdoor Adventure was a hex crawl style survival game that is literally a different game that Gary Gygax suggests that you pick up, purchase, and use when doing overland movement with your characters, and they work together. They work fine together, but D&D, old editions of D&D, was very, what's the word I'm looking for? It didn't have a unifying mechanic, so whatever resolution mechanics worked best, whether it was a D6 or percentile dice or whatever, they didn't care. What they were most interested in was the results that, like, what's the narrative of the results that you got, not that the mechanics were easier. They're like, what can we do that makes sense? And a lot of times it'd be like, roll a D6, like on a 2 out of 6, you find a secret door. Meanwhile, if a rogue wants to climb a wall, they're going to have a 16% chance of doing so. So get out your percentile dice and throw those instead. Here comes Thaco. It's time for combat. So let's roll a 20-sided die and compare it to your level and chart and the armor class of the creature you're attempting to hit. And yeah, there was a disjunction between different types of mechanics, but it was fine because that was what D&D was. And once they made the unifying mechanics in 3rd edition of the rise of the D20, as it were. Hold on real quick. Oh, my shoulders. Really acting up. I store all my trauma in my shoulder, and occasionally it releases some of it, and it hurts like hell. It feels like my shoulder's being dislocated. And then when it dumps all the the gunk that's stored, because it is I did dislocate my shoulder a long time ago, and I've used that as my storage device for all my emotional pain ever since. And that is, with the help of some very good therapy, is finally unraveling out of my body, and it kicks like a fucking mule. By God, it's painful. It's so funny. The massage therapists have told me, more than one, so I believe it's true in general, or at least that they believe this, that that your body stores trauma as physical ailments, and when you touch that ailment, like your body holds it as stress, as tension, and the more stressed you are, the more tense your body gets, because it's storing that trauma into your body, or whatever task you're doing is accessing where that trauma is stored. And so as massage therapy is important because it allows you to actively release that tension and trauma out of your body where it's storing it. It's the act of basically purging your hard drive of of corrupted files, if you would. I feel like I want to do something like that. So that's what I feel like happened to me today, and oh boy, is my body cranky. So I'm here 6 days a week, Monday through Friday in the morning. I have my early morning coffee stream, and where we do design work. Right now we're doing the Spelljammer book, but this will very likely be finished maybe on Wednesday. I doubt it's going to be Tuesday, but it could be Wednesday. I actually have Tuesday and Wednesday off next week. So I have a lot of opportunity to just slam in a lot of artwork. And I'm getting to the point where I can measure probably there might be like 20 hours worth of work left. And a lot of it's just going to be is just breaking up all the back around episode, I want to say 80 through 130. We did a ton of NPC and creature tokens for Lattice and just in general. And those are both color and black and white tokens that I need to break up into different files, file assets, drop into a zip file, and load up with this PDF. If it was just the PDF, yeah, I'd be done. If it's just a PDF, I have like maybe 10 hours left. But I also have the zip file assembly work for all the tokens that we did. So there's probably when I make time, something that we discovered today, while my shoulder was bleeding out, was that when I estimate how long it's going to take for me to complete a task, I don't accurately measure all the little subtasks inside of the main task. I think like page assembly. I don't think about like all the shapes I need to build, and then actually dropping the artwork into those shapes in the document. And what if they don't line up properly? How long is recalibration going to take? It could take an hour each, depending on how difficult the time it is and how clumsily I built the thing in the first place. So there's a lot of factors that can slow me down. But assuming everything, so I guess I could say if everything goes perfectly, in about 20 hours of production, I can publish this. But we know everything isn't going to go perfectly, so I don't know what's wrong, and I don't know how long it's going to take to fix until I run into it and figure out how to fix it. So like this little piece of corner art, I didn't realize that I would need to do this, and although I could technically have skipped the corner, the general rule that I have is that if it's more than, you can't even see this, if I can fit the page, on the screen and the space is larger than my two fingers along the bottom like this, if it's touching text, then if it's not touching text, then it's a large enough space for me to put a it's large enough for me to put like a little corner thing in, like we're doing right now. And when we were doing this, I did not realize that. Click over here. I didn't realize that this space was large enough to do that. So here we are, adding in an unexpected piece of spot art, and I could ignore my own rules if I wanted to skip it and just expedite getting the thing published. But when you're playing a game, you have rules. And if you just ignore the rules, you're kind of cheating, right? And I didn't want to cheat myself when I was creating this, even though it's taken 18 months to build the thing from ideation to completion. It's been so long, there's no sense. Just because I said it was going to be done on Tuesday, there's no reason for me to cheat and speed that up, you know? Get out of here, Creative Con. No one care about you. Creative Cloud. That's right, get out of here, clownfish. Hit the save button because my system may have locked up. Let's see if it recovered. Looks like it recovered. So close to done. When this is done, then Eberron, our Eberron adventure, Crystals of Mabar, that becomes the primary project. So this is what I'm doing on Monday through Fridays in the mornings, and then I have this this evening shift on Mondays and Thursdays, like today. This is Thursday. Hi. If you're in the future and you don't know what day it is Thursday here in the real world. And let's see. And then I have my my game development stream that I have at lunchtimes on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, including tomorrow. So if you want to see me build a game, then like and subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when I'm live, which will be tomorrow and at lunchtime. And approximately, I'll be live again in about 22 hours. And then I'll be live at lunch again in about 27 hours. Is that right? 24 hours plus 29 hours. I'll be live again in about 29 hours. We completed character creation, and so we'll actually be running our first adventure on Wednesday next week. And so I have a little bit more details I want to clean up, but I'm pretty happy with our design so far. It's at a point where it needs to start getting tested to see if it can actually stand up. And if it does, then A, the team will love it and we'll keep playing. But B, I can then start outsourcing playtest options, either by me running another side hustle game or by handing it off to other DMs to mess around with and enjoy. So we'll see how all that susses out. But once we get the campaign up and running, then we'll go back to building the martial power system. We've got a hex crawl playtest that we want to fire up for that in March. So once this and the Spelljammer campaign for my home table is built and up and running, that will free up my space for the Eberron adventure, Crystals of Mabar. And the other thing that I'll be working on is the Martial Powers playtest. And I've got a commission. I've got a painting commission that I'll be building in March. And I'm looking forward to that. Very much so. More details to come. Awaiting details. But you'll see me building another commission. I've done a couple commissions here on stream. They are very fun to do. I'm gonna blend that in. Maybe we'll stick around for an hour or so tonight. I'm not really sure. Yeah, no regrets. I spy with my eyes somebody who's in my chat. What's up? Hey, Tyler. It's good to see my guy. Let's create some space for you. Yes. Yes, I am. We're filling it with... We're filling art today. You keep practicing those dad jokes. They're gonna come in handy for you real soon. There we go. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's grab this one. No, right, that's right. We did this one on purpose. Decent. Now let's hit the erase button at a low opacity and carve down on some of that brightness, and then we'll duplicate the layer and drop some highlights on top of it. Duplicate the layer, and then filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Boom. That feels pretty good. So, I was about to make an I Spy comment because yeah, I bet you were. September is the month, man. No kidding. And it's going to be fast enough. Yeah, no kidding, man. Time flies, my guy. Is that a purpose? A porpoise? Merge. This is the section on visibility or rescans and spotting things. Fun little mechanical section. Let's I think I can afford to tilt this just a touch. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Spot art. Shut up. So that's good. Drop that in. I'm going to unlock that entire stack. Whew, man. Pop. There. Right, I needed to fix this. My chief of staff advised me that rock, grit, more rocks, that these aren't reading properly. That I need to update those. So, worm. There we go. There. That was the only thing that she wanted. So, wanted to continue discussion from this morning. Got to give Nagatsu some credit for catching a super early mistake in my document. My saving throw is based on wisdom, not con, but I still had con. Getting fresh eyes to look over any document is good. Yes, it is. So I wait so long in between checking out stuff because, one, really see the progress, and two, people change things all the time. Yeah, and most of the time it generates new content, like how in the middle of playtesting Avernus you went, man, Spelljammer would be fun on the 500-foot scale. Yeah, no kidding. That's I honestly always recommend, if you can afford the time, cook as slowly as you can. Games are stew. And stews, slow-cooked stews, are so much more savory and delicious than something that you just pop in the microwave for a few minutes. And so, although I lament how long it takes to build stuff, that's just because there's so many other things I already want to build on top of it. Like, if this is the only thing I had going on, then game on. Take as long as you want. But I've got a ton of stuff I hope to achieve before I die. And if I don't get after it, I never will. Scaver! This was a lot of fun to do. I love all these little corner vignette pieces. I am so happy to be building these things out this way. So let me double check to make sure this guy still actually... Oh, shit. And so this guy still exists. We rearranged stuff. Yeah, we rearranged stuff. That's going to now be Eagle. He should still fit, probably just not the exact same way that it does currently. So that is page 60. So let's extract that and go make that scaver work where he can. 60. File. Save as. No. File. Export. PDF. Interior pages. Exploration. 60. Options. Current page. Document. No properties. Okay. Publish. PDF pops up. Clear of text. Hit the backspace button to drop our background back in. Hit save to prevent any disasters. Jump back into here. Drop down. File. Open. 60. Click. Fine. Whatever. Pop. Still works. Copy. Oh, it fit perfectly. So you can't even notice that the icons have a rack that sits on top of it. That's on top of the art at all. That worked out really, really nicely. Whew. Really nicely. All right, so get the fuck out of here, G-Force. Great cartoon. Big fan of Battle of the Planets. G-Force, super cool. Allow me to geek out as a child. There, here, there, here. Delete the elite. Star splash. Stars shine on a black background. Let's push this guy up. Bye-bye. Looks like that fits anyway. So let's free transform. Flip, verdict, no. Free transform. Sup? Oh yeah? Right on. I'm gonna have to take that as a compliment. It sure feels like one. I honestly don't know who that was. But a lot of my design aesthetics, both in game design and look, came from 3.5. So I guess that's pretty realistic to think that that's how I would roll. How about 100% on my eraser so I can actually see what I'm actually cleaving through here. There we go. Blend that in. Catch up with you in a second. All right, I'm being fed stuff. There's a hint of throughput of my DNA, which brings a fresh taste of the 5e third-party straw. Hey, thanks. That is a compliment. I accept it. Layouts are a lot of fun. It's I mean, I'm heavily biased because I get to create all the artwork for my shit and make like this, like make everything curve together perfectly. But I fucking love it. legit love it. It's a lot of fun to do it. It's just building it like from scratch up to a completed project with my own effort, you know. Other than hiring an editor to make sure I'm not overlooking something, and in this case, Ukulele Bard helped me with a lot, like make sure that the math worked, and was my my sounding board during the writing process to make sure that what I was building made sense. And he's really good with statistics, so I put out an idea out there, and he's like, that I don't know if that like the scaling of CR into ranks. That was something that we spent a lot of time crunching the math on to make sure that it all fit properly, and it seems to work pretty good. So I really valued him being involved. So I was happy to paint him a tree. That was a very, very fun project. building the book cover to his Reclamant RPG. That was super freaking fun. I don't know where he's at with that. I knew it was like one of like 4 different games that he was experimenting with, so I have no idea when it's actually going to publish. But that was a fun fucking project. Super cool book cover, if I don't mind saying so myself. That feels pretty good. Get that all sussed out. What's up? He is. He's a pretty square shooter. That. Come on, Bubba. Bubba. I used to call my cat Bubba. He was such a cutie. At one point, I had my computer set up here. I'll just do this real quick for the lulz. At one point, I had here's the desk where my computer's at, and here's my chair. We had a couch. Like this, and then we had a TV and another thing over here, and so and we had a wall here with a closet in it and stuff, and we had the kitchenette over here. But whatever. So this would be the space. My gal would hang out on the couch here, and my cat would lay on the couch here, and the computer desk actually touched against the couch here, and I was so close at the computer that he'd be able to lay his head on my arm while I was drawing. So my arm would stay in place, and he'd put his chin on my on my elbow, and I'd just be like this, and I'd be drawing like this, like, you know, down at normal height, but it was even with the couch, so so he could just sleep with his head on my elbow, and I love that cat so much. He was so adorable. He chose me. We went. Friends were having a litter of cats, and they're like, "We need to get rid of these cats, so please come take one." And we were picking one out, and Bubba he literally got up from his mom, walked over all stumble-footed, and laid on my foot and just fell asleep on my foot. I'm like, obviously we're taking him. He completely chose me, and he lived his entire life with me. He died at 20 years old, and God, I love that boy. Love that boy to death. He was such a cutie. He was my forever boy. Do that. Let's add a little bit of pepper. Just a little bit of pepper. I see some more text crawling around down there. Give me a minute. Oops, that is not dark enough. There we go. would commission you for mine, but I'm going to see what my wife brings to the table since she's doing a lot of art lately. Absolutely. And to be perfectly honest, I don't have the bandwidth to do it, my friend. As much as a compliment that is my dance card is full for months. Thank you for the compliment. Just merge these down for the fuck of it. The problem with stippling rough like that is that sometimes they aren't circles. I hit at a bad angle and I drag. That should do. And then I can duplicate the layer, filter, blur, Gaussian, blur. Perfect. Merge down. And then we'll use 20% eraser to pick at different spots here inconsistently, to prevent anything from shining too disproportionately evenly. There we go. Pretty good. So, oh yeah. Thank you. No, get off, man. I appreciate it though. It's very kind. Very, very, very kind. Let's add a little bit more dark into here. I don't want to spend more time in here. The muse wants me to. I follow the muse. I does what she says. That's how my shit ends up awesome. And I'm quite convinced that she is my co-pilot through reality, and that she has all the cheat codes. She has Nintendo Power Edition, Phil Kearney, Nintendo Power Edition, where she has all the maps and cheat codes and all the things to be able to easily navigate my life. And she's constantly telling me, do this, do that. Go this way, go that way. No. Up, down, down, left, right. ABBA, select, start. That'll keep you from getting killed. My best friend Kyle in high school, he had a few brothers and a sister. And this was back in the days of when Nintendo was new. Like 91. Yeah, about 91. That feels about right. But we would all sit around and like play like the first Castlevania, or like Kid Icarus, or like the first two Mega Mans or whatever. And they'd have the Nintendo Power the Nintendo Power magazine, which was basically an advertisement for whatever new games were coming out that month. But they would also provide you all the maps and the cheat codes and all the blah blah if you wanted just to kick through it for fun. So we would all cluster around and pick a game. We'd throw down and play it through. We'd fight each other on Battletoads for hours, and it was great. It was very fun. When we weren't playing D&D, we were playing on Nintendo, like Super Mario. Then the what was it? The new one that came out, when Super Mario World first became a thing. Then we all did that too with Super Mario World. Except me and Kyle at that point, we were 17, and the kids were, the youngers were 13 and 15. So we lay back smoking weed or whatever, and they would play Nintendo Powers and we'd just bullshit about it. A lot of fun. That feels pretty good. There. Now that feels better. Cool. I like that. So we can stitch him up. Lock that down. Blip, blop. This does not pass the 2-finger test. 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4.5, 5 lines. I need about 6 or 7 lines of space between the bottom margin and the bottom and the top of the margin and the bottom of the text to justify adding art in. It's almost big enough, but it's close enough that it becomes empty space for the eye to rest. Same here, empty space for the eye to rest. And now we have traveling in wild space here, which is moving between worlds. Oh yeah, this is the map page. We're on the maps already. I know I'm pretty sure I need to update this. Page 65. 61, good to go. 62, good to go. 63. We did rearrange the text here, but it's not something I'm actually going to art on, so I can skip that. So 63 is okay. Right. I need to open up this space a little bit. Okay, let's build a box. Trash. Okay, so what I need to do, yeah, that is appropriate. So let's just do a full grab. So cool. So the top part's still lined up. Here, I'll show you what I'm going to have to do to make this thing complete. So I'm lining this edge up. Transform. Touching the top of the L. Going over here, making sure that's flush. Now we can conceal the text, conceal the page planning, and Hold on. Let's just do it like that. We're going to go copy, new. I can afford to trim this. Image, crop. Do not need that page. Duplicate this layer. Save as. Wait. Merge. File. Save as to my computer. Exploration. We're going to make this a PNG so it stays transparent. And this will be entry disk page. Save. Now I want to do is image size in inches. I need to trim this down to canvas size. There we go. Microsoft Word. So what I'm doing right now is I'm building a insert shape box. Like this. Now, I'll insert the image into that, but first, I need to make sure it's the right size. And when I go in here and I shape format, and I go to position, not position, size. See, it only has two decimal places, but Photoshop goes to 3, so I have to trim it down. What's up? I can't believe this, man. I look at my work and it's all just Word doc. This kind of stuff. I've been doing it for a while, and I like using Microsoft Word a lot. I'm going to use this side because that frames against the arrows here. So this is the right edge is my point of reference. So let's reduce the size of this down to 1.7 and the width down to 4.5. Nice and even numbers. Proceed. File, save as, document, PNG. See, this is one illustration. I've got how many illustrations? A lot. So let's go with yes. So it's going to take a while. I want to think, hey, you can have this done by Tuesday. It's Thursday, Kearney, and you've got a job and a family. You're not going to be done by Tuesday. I'm sorry, son. It's just not going to happen. 4.5 by 1.7. So let's go to here. And we will shape format. Oh my God. pretty close. 4.5 by 1.7. There. That's the size that we need. Nice and flush. Nice and flush. And now we can right click, outline equals no outline, and fill, that's me. Picture from file. Theurgy, thank you. Let's go to exploration, entry disk. There, see? 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. How? Wait, hold on. I'm trying to get this thing lined up. How big are you, buddy? See, these are the little details that slow me down. And I can just resize the font. That's fine. Yep, that's the right size. So now I can take this and we're going to send to the back, so I can click on this. See, now it sits very, very pretty on the page. So I just finished that page. So this page is done now. It's all centered, lined up. I like where it's at. I could probably afford to scoot this over a little bit so that I have an equal amount of space between the table and that. But in all reality, this table isn't what's over far enough. This needs to be here so it lines up with this margin. Take that away. See, now that lines up, which makes this a little off kilter. So I'm going to pull that in a bit. This is how I lose time. That was actually perfect. That actually is perfect. There you go. See, the 4 and the 5, they line up with the 19 pretty nicely. So what is this? Entering wild space. So contrary to the traveling the astral sea section above, when traveling to a wild space system without a specific location within it, you arrive within 1 million miles of the system's edge, and you can detect any planetary objects within the system while focusing on an orrery. Your position relative to your destination within the system is determined by making a wisdom or intelligence, insider survival check, or intelligence history check. Compare the results to the table below. A natural 20 results in arriving within the system close enough to to notice the destination with the naked eye, as listed in the visibility table above, which we'll go look at here in a second. A successful check results in appearing within 1d4 times 100 million miles from the destination in a random direction, but no farther than the edge of the system. Failing results in arriving along the edge of the wild space system at a random position. A natural 1 results in appearing outside the system within 1 million miles at a random position. Familiarity. Roll a d8 and consult the diagram above. A location marked A represents a destination halfway between the center and edge of the system. Each number represents a position at the edge of the system relative to the destination. The result of 1 is closest and 8 is farthest. So, a successful check results in appearing within 1d4 times 10 times 100 million miles from the destination in a random direction, but no farther from the edge of the system. So, depending on what your familiarity with determines whether you're going to hit the target number that you need. Yeah. I pulled this. Yeah, I pulled it from Photoshop. So I made it with a PSD file, and then I exported this chunk into a separate document that I saved as a PNG, and then I built it so it'd go out to the edge of the document, so that I had a reference point using the top of the text, the edge of the text over here, and then the edge of the text along the page, so that when I drop this document in, it's writing along the edge. See, and then I adjusted its distance to taste, but I got the proper positioning on it by calibrating it along the edge between these arrows, this edge of text, and the edge of the page. As a PNG file, it's transparent, so I can drop it transparently here, and it'll sit on the page properly. And then I just made sure that the text was scooted down to a position that would properly frame it. Or if I had to do this because when I was last updating the document, I had to shift it. I had to shift the text, and I put it out of position. So this is me realigning where the text is supposed to be. So once I completed that process, I can drop it in. I make it. I go to send it to the back, so that it's sitting behind the table that I could then also just pick up and move as needed, like that, right? So then I can drop it into position. Once I do, I can let it go, and it just sits there on the page. This background here, this rail and the texture color background, is a watermark that appears faded right now, but when we go to File, Export, PDF, Interior Pages, Exploration, what is this, page 64? Cool. Page 64, Options, Current Page, Document, Remove Properties. So I'm using the current, or I do the whole thing once it's strung up properly, but currently I'm only doing the one page for a test. So I'm doing the current page, document only. I already built bookmarks, that's why it's using the word bookmarks. And then I get rid of properties and I get rid of structure tags, so I don't have any artifacts that I don't want on the page to appear. Then I click OK, and then I publish. And I'm going to replace the previous file. It'll spit it out here, and you'll see that the border and the background texture are now dark. See, and it's basically identical. Wrong document. Here and here. Bump, bump, bump. There and there. See, it's basically, here I can zoom in. Zoom in with the right damn tool. Here we go. It's actually a little bit more, the PDF actually makes it more crisp. The PDF is actually more crisp than the Photoshop file, oddly enough. But yeah, this is all properly built out now. And yeah, I don't have enough pages to make it work right now, but we built out the navigation bar here. So when I click on that, it takes you to the table of contents. And each of these things are hyperlinked, like exploration, encountering objects, void, traveling in the astral. There we go. Traveling in the astral sea takes you back to this page here. There you go. Or I could drop down. I could drop down to the random system generator, and then I've got my table of contents that'll pull me back up. And then whichever button, whichever chapter we're in, is the button that gets highlighted, so you know which chapter you're in. And once we finish this same, like this ship and equipment icon down here will be larger in the corner up here as well. So you're always cross-referencing and correlating where you are. And once we actually build the PDF itself, see, it's got color pools, entering model space, gaining familiarity. The entire 100 some odd hyperlinks to different subsections are all linked up in there too. So you can easily navigate around the document using the table of contents sidebar that we build, but you can also just manually navigate around inside of it. Pretty fun stuff, and it's just a nice little quality of life thing, just to add in as bragging rights because I can, so I did. So it just when you just like it just makes life a little easier. I just think it's fun, and it's a neat thing to do with the bottom rail that since it's a P, I don't intend for you to print it, so I don't have page numbers, so that gutter is basically free space for me to do whatever I want with. So I made navigation stuff. It's pretty fun. Where was I at? Well, yeah. Okay, so this is good. So yeah, we're good to go on this page. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save for funsies since we fixed it, and we can go back. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. But you saw how that worked? That's how you build. That's how I build PDFs in Word. So. And since I can manipulate the document imagery down to the pixel in Photoshop, I can craft, and that's why I craft and build inside of here, because I can pick them up and just drop them into the document. And all these little corner pieces that I've been building, I can just take the selection tool and start in the corner here and build it out. Like I could have done it this way, and then selected this, and then you just have this up in the corner, and this would all be dead space, right? But since it's perfectly pixeled, it'll line up like this, like cutting through this icon. I could just cut through that if I wanted to, because it's gonna line up when I finish it. So it just depends on how much space do I need, and the larger the box, the more spaces like this that I add into the document, the larger the document is going to get, so it becomes bulkier. And you want to be really careful about like using the there's a couple different templates on DMsGuild, like monster stat block templates. But if you mess with them at all, like if you mess with the sizing of them, they'll end up crashing your Word document. So I always recommend build everything custom by yourself. Don't buy templates to drop them in, because if you mess with them, they can make your whole document end up crashing. I didn't find that out until I started manipulating the page at the very end of the book when I was putting character art into the sample characters I built for the Color Mana system. The entire system would crash, and I lost, and it got corrupted, and I lost the entire document. I had to rebuild it from fucking scratch. Oh, it sucked. But so be careful. Like when you're building stuff, use your own templates. The more you build things from scratch, the more you understand the process, so you can become more masterful of the craft that you're developing, and being able to design. This actually feels like a hair off there. And then click that. That'll take you to the visibility section. I'm normally not a fan of like highlight buttons like this, but all the reference stuff. There's different terminology in here that's bold. Like I use bold text like this. So if I was just using a generic bold font as my hyperlinks, then it wouldn't correlate properly. It would look weird. So I actually want to keep the underlines, but I'll probably be going through and I might end up messing with them. I don't know. I might mess with the font color. We'll see. We'll see how it ends up landing at the end of the document. But so far, I'm pretty happy with it. But I don't mind the hyperlink highlight, because that's really the only way it makes it obvious that you can click on this thing, by having the highlight like that. Like if I concealed the meta mechanic of it, then it wouldn't be as useful. It would just see like, go, well, how do I get there? Like you might intuit that you can click on it, but I'm trying to spell things out here so that people can see it. Yeah, I built my own out of add tables featured. So I have tables. Nice. Yeah. So I have tables. You be careful with that. You be careful with that table to the table stuff. That can test it. Test it for a little while. Like make sure you can manipulate it and resize it and fuck around with it a little bit. So if it does cause you a problem, it doesn't destroy your entire document. But that's what I ran. It had nested boxes inside of each other, and it should be fine as a text. But just keep an eye on it because Word can be a little squirrely. And I don't want to see you getting burned. But this page is done. What else you got? Where are we at? It's 9 o'clock. Time to rock. Oh yeah, I rebuilt this stuff. Hold on. What is this page? Page 65. There, let's make sure this all lines up. So I'm going to, I have to delete the background each time because it's colored. So I want the background transparent so I can drop the text in on top of God, that's a big file. So I can drop things in on top of the transparency so the text is floating, right? I don't want to have the background get picked up and dropped in here. Otherwise, it just makes it more difficult for me to manipulate the image. Let's see. Then I undo that. Click here again to verify. Page 65. File. Export. Interior. Exploration. 65. Options. Current page. Documents. No properties. No structure. Publish. Single page pop-up. Thank you. I then undo so the background gets added back in, and I hit save so I don't accidentally lose it somehow. And then I come back over to here. And I've got my text file. No, I don't need to save that. Thank you. File equals open. Thank you. 65, single page, open. And then I select all, and then copy, and then go back into the document here, conceal my text, and then paste in place. And then bam, look, it's sitting pretty. Get rid of my text layer. TXT. Lock it so I don't mess with it. It's not the finished idea. I'm going to copy it and let Leanne make her own border and coloring, and then I'll export it into a PNG, and then use the add image thing. There you go. Nice, good job, man. The character archetype based on balancing the scales of words. Hey, cool. Let's see. Let's make sure this is all still relevant. I might have to be making some changes to the document. So access space sits nicely. scoot this up here. I'm checking my shit here to make sure everything's lined up proper. Okay. A, the sun. Inner planets. Outer planets. Something here doesn't feel right. Why is this? Something feels off. Hold on. Oh, yeah, I was supposed to... this feels wrong. Let's go check our document to make sure everything's saying what's supposed to be saying. Xerax's space has a radius of 400 million miles, as depicted in the illustration above. I know there's been changes, so 1 square equals 100 million miles. So, Xerax's space has a radius of 400 million miles, as depicted in the illustration above. Each square on the map represents 100 million miles. Similar to many overland maps, the character ship can move 1 square each day, while the planets remain relatively still. Xerax's space is small, requiring only a 9x9 space to map the entire system, where the central star and each planet occupies a separate square on the map. Alternatively, realm space has a radius of 3.2 billion miles. At the 100 million mile scale, a full system map requires a 65 by 65 square space. While virtual tabletops like Roll20 provide a larger map environment capable... You like how I'm plugging Roll20 there when I'm publishing this on the DMsGuild? Because OBS owns Roll20. So there you go. So while virtual tabletops like Roll20 provide a large map environment capable of accommodating 100 by 100 square maps, this can be inconvenient while playing in person on a grid of 1-inch squares. Increasing the scale of map reduces the number of squares. As supposed to be depicted in the illustration below, each square on the realm space map is 400 million miles. Reducing the number of squares from the central star A to the edge of of the system J to a manageable 13 by 13 square grid. So where are we on this map? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I have not scaled this thing properly. Many of the inner planets, B, C, and D, occupy the same 400 million miles square as the central star. These inner planets can be depicted on a separate map of smaller scale squares, reducing scale during exploration. While increasing the scale of a map reduces the number of squares depicted, reducing the scale of squares can provide more detail about a region. For example, in the realm space map in the inner planets below, the scale is reduced to 50 million miles per square. At this scale, each inner planet can be interacted with more directly than at the 400 million mile scale illustrated above. A ship traveling at 100 million miles per day can travel approximately 1 square in 12 hours. On the map, Toril, D, is 8 squares away from Chandros, F, requiring 4 days to travel between these planets. Show me. D to F, 8 squares. D, F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There you go. D to F, 8 squares. 50 million miles. So what I need to do is I need to change the system map. Oh boy. I need to change this system map. I need to rebuild it from scratch. That is going to reduce the so this A, and then I can reduce it down to B for the inner planets. A, B for inner planets, C, D, E, and then F for edge of realm space. So I'm going to have to. I don't have time on stream tonight to do that. So, but I do need to do it, and I want to get it done tonight. So I'm going to drop off stream here in a minute. If I gave myself another month, I could do these things on stream in the morning and in the afternoons. But this is I'm just showing you guys in on what the process is that we're doing. System organization. There we go. Bold, good. Good, yeah, I need to rebuild this map. It'll be A and then B for the inner planets, and then I don't have to mention the outer planets. I can just do A, B, and then C, D, E. Sun, inner planets, outer planets. That'll do. That'll do. So that's what I need. So that's how I have to do it. So yeah, I'll catch up on my notes here. Suddenly you can then post maps at work with your. Oh wait. Making sure your map key is correct is important. In the first printing of the Explorer Guide to Wildmount, all the map scales were in miles. Oof. I think like 100 million. I think 100 miles or something. It was good. Suddenly you can then post maps that work with your mapping style. Make even more. Glad I caught that. You're welcome. Yep. Yeah, it's supposed to be 400 million miles because we're doing scale in, scale out. Yeah, you get it. Yeah, it does say 400 million miles, but I built it wrong. Does it save? Yeah. And that perfect timing. All right. Yeah. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me, man. Yeah, I'm going to get back to work. Jump off screen. Take care of this. I will be. I think I'm going to be back in the morning, and probably doing more of this stuff. I know I have a bunch of art in the combat chapter that have elven flitters, and we built the warbird to replace the flitter because when we finish this, we get to build the Monarch class carrier ship, which is a 500 by 500 foot space, like the hammerhead ships. Hold on, I'm just gonna hit save here for now. Power to the people say, pump the lyrical, be the miracle. Let's get rid of that, and I'm going to close this out to reset my computer. But before I do, let's pop this open, and then go into the interior page. No, let's go to production. And tokens, ships, vessels. Thank you. Where are you at, baby? Okay, so the largest ships that they depict in the Spelljammer's Adventures in Space is the Hammerhead ship and the Squid ship. They're both 500. They're both 250-foot long vessels. But in the second edition version, wait for this to pop open. The elves had the Star Moth, which they used to call a Man of War. They had a Star Moth, which is 200 feet. They have the Warbird, which is 50 feet. And then they have the Elven Flitter, which is a 20-foot fighter craft. And then they had the Monarch, or it was technically, I'll call it an Armada. There was the Man of War, and then there's the Armada. But here's the rebuilt. Here's the Man of War, or the Warbird that we built. This is from 3rd edition, Moon of the Spider Queen. But most importantly is the Armada Carrier. So this is an illustration from 2nd edition, scaled out properly to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 at the 50-foot scale here. So this is a 500 by 500 foot carrier craft. Here's the rough outline I made of it, and you can see all these little ships. These are about 20 feet, like a 20-foot by 20-foot fighter craft. So they would all be mounted up on these things and have storage. So you could put, I think there was normally a complement of 40 of them. So you could have a shitload of little fighter squadrons bouncing off the deck of these ships. So once I finish the actual Spelljammer Combat and Exploration, I can start on my Saturday morning projects, start building these massive craft, or these massive vessels. The largest, the way that we have it in the book, is at the largest scale. Let's go back to here we go, Spelljamming Helms. A major helm occupies a 5-foot space. The gravity plane for air. The ship can travel between worlds. Let's see. Gravity plane, air, fill space. Gravity plane envelope created by the major helm. This gravity plane air envelope created. Detail Spelljammer ship selection below. Right. So Spelljamming ships. It's not the helms I need. Vessels. Here you go. Ships of any size larger than 50 feet up to 500 feet are referred to as vessels and can be piloted with a major spelljamming helm. Vessels occupy a number of 50-foot squares as determined by the length of the vessel, rounded up to the nearest 50-foot length. For example, a Starmoth ship is 200 feet long. It occupies a space of 4 50-foot squares long and 4 50-foot squares wide, or a 4x4 space at the 50-foot scale, as illustrated below. And we have an illustration here. That is not a Star Moth. Thank you. Spiderling. This should actually say, for example, a Night Spider. Is 200 feet long. Correct. Let's go down and make sure I spelled that right. Night Spider is one word, not two, Kearney. Constantly getting that wrong. For example, a Night Spider ship is 200 feet long. It occupies a space for blah, blah, blah. A vessel can occupy 1 square at the 500-foot scale, similar to how a tiny, small, or medium creature occupies a 5-foot space on a typical combat map, like that of a dungeon passage. So there's that. But so this Armada, there's the Armada. There's the Dwarven Citadel, which is basically just like a 500-foot mountain that they carve into the shape of whatever they want to carve it in. And then there is the Ogre Mammoth, which is basically like a giant hockey puck with a mammoth skull motif and a battering ram on the front. But that holds like 60 Goblin Aerocraft, which are the little craft that we made here. Let me conceal the Warbird. There, this is the size of a Goblin Arrow. It's a 15-foot craft. So when we build out the Ogre Mammoth ship, it'll be 500 feet long, and it'll have all these little ports for these little arrows to sit on, and then they just launch off of the ship and swarm a target. Meanwhile, the elven monarch has its tower on top, and it also has its flight deck where it can pack on a shitload of elven flitters. So when we go back through, we'll make like a skiff here. It occupies a 1, 2, 3, 4. This occupies a 4x4 space. But I can just reshape this thing to be more sleek and a little bit longer, just like the arrow is, right? Instead, make it a 4x4, like make it 20 feet long, 5 feet wide, and then give it a wingspan of 20 feet so it fits in a 20-foot space. So that it scales properly with the illustration that we have already here for reference. Maybe it'll be 25 feet. One, two, three. That only looks like 50 feet divided by 3. No, 20 foot, 15. I could probably, no, 15 will be 20 feet's, 20 feet's right. So yeah, this actually is scaled properly. You got 1, 2, and just a bit more. 50 feet, 20 feet times 2 with just a smidge left over. Yeah, that's actually proper. Yeah, so these things are actually being depicted as 20-foot craft. So we could then go back through and just build a skiff here, right? And then we make it like, I'm avoiding work at the moment. Forgive me. So here. And then we'd have an arcane cannon here that basically uses cantrips to fire energy bolts of whatever damage type you're using your cantrip. And then you got your helm here. Something like that. We'll have to figure out how to make it look pretty. It's ugly as sin right now, but we'll make it pretty. Yeah, something like that. But this will end up being the Elven Flitter, a little 20-foot craft that'll easily fit on these carriers. You can pack in 1, 2, 3, 4 in a squadron. If this thing's carrying 60 of them, that's 15 squadrons that each occupy a 50-foot square that you can then pack in to a single 500-foot square to advance with the carrier. It all fits inside that same 500-foot space. And the rules that we have is a craft that a ship that can sit inside the air, the gravity plane of another ship. That larger ship is basically carrying or towing the other craft that is occupying that space. So even though fighter craft can only go 1 million miles per day versus the vessels going 100 million miles per day, the carriers take those craft from one location to another. And, well, a minor helm can only do 1 million miles a day. You could put a major spelljamming helm on a small craft and it would go 100 million miles per day. But the reason why you have fighter craft and you have minor helms is because they're only 500 gold. They're stupid cheap to make, so they're disposable fighter craft, which is what you need in a war. Something cheap and easy. The price that you pay for having such a low price point is that they don't go as fast. So they have to be delivered. But the way that spelljamming, the way that these siege weapons work, they only have up to a 1 mile range to be able to effectively fire at each other anyway, which a fighter craft and a vessel are both basically at even odds, because if you move out of that 1 mile scale, you can't hit a target because the ships are too fast. They're just going to dodge the shots. You have to, if you're going to be more than a mile away, you have to be lobbing them like at a moon or an asteroid so large that it can't just be easily moved. But these little fighter craft are super maneuverable. So if you're over a mile away, they can literally see it coming from a mile away, and you'll never hit them unless you catch them by surprise. So a carrier can bring these things in and then drop all these cheap little fighter craft out into the field to attack. And if you have to run away from it then that carrier can just sweep through and just pick up, like just hoover up all these ships, pull them into its gravity field, and then it can shoot off with all of them on board. Or if you're expensive, if you're a rich sort of adventurer, each of your fighter craft can have a full major helm capable of doing long distance voyages without having fear of running out of oxygen. So anyway, this is what's on the horizon. Once we have that book published, we have all the mechanics that we need to be able to build carrier ships with fighter craft on them to be able to engage again at combat at the 5-foot scale, 50-foot scale, 500-foot scale. And these carrier classes can start operating at the 1 mile scale by creating zones of control with the fighter craft that they have swarming around them like bees, So that's the idea anyway. So that's what's on the horizon. Ogre Mammoth versus Elven Monarch. And then the Dwarven Citadels are just giant rocks that fit inside a 500-foot space. And they just, until they dig them all out and get all the ore out of them, and then they just chuck them as completed pieces of artwork. And they often carve like dwarven faces or weapons or like a giant Boros fist or whatever out of the asteroid. And when they're done with all the ore, they just let it go, bounce into another rock, and then everyone hops off of the rock that they have into the new mine, into a new asteroid, and they start carving on it. So those two things will remain locked in with each other until the dwarves have done enough work to be able to leave the old one behind and cast it off, and then carry forward with this new one, with this new asteroid that they can then slowly forth out into space. And they load it up with all its weapons, and you live there for a few generations before it's mined out, and then you head on to the new one. So dwarf space is just littered with all like all these dwarven kings or whoever like a war hero was or whatever. They'll just carve 500-foot faces as basically memorials or monuments in space to these to all these dwarven heroes, whatever. Anyway, they're pretty cool. Dwarves, and then you have the I don't remember what they call them, but the Illithid have a massive craft, and the Neogi have a mine spider that was supposed to be a massive craft like the Monarch was, but it never came through. So I can build a mine spider as another massive carrier ship that just flings shitloads of spiderlings off of it, which are 40-foot gunboats basically with giant piercing weapons and. Anyway, that would be a fun thing. So Neogi, Illithid, dwarves, elves, and the Skrull Armada. That's 5 different craft that I can build at the 500-foot scale, and just have massive carrier wars. And obviously that all resolves just as easily as any other round of combat of 4 characters against an ogre or a giant or whatever. It's all the same action economy, and the damage actually kind of scales in comparison. So anyway, I've rambled on enough. So I'm going to get out of here. And yeah, I'll see you. Hope if anyone new out there catches this and they think it's cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, because we just keep building. So I'll see everybody in the morning in about 9 hours. So see you then. Laters.